The sudden firing of New York Jets head coach Robert Saleh is making waves across the NFL, but one way or another, the move traces back to Aaron Rodgers. While the veteran quarterback couldn't exactly fire himself and might not have the heart to oust his close friend and offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett, it seems Saleh has become the casualty in the Jets' tumultuous season. Despite Saleh's defensive acumen, his 20-36 record didn't do much to secure his future with the franchise. On Tuesday, just 5 games into his 4th season, Saleh was abruptly dismissed, an October surprise that reeked of desperation. His ouster was officially executed by Jets owner Woody Johnson, the former U.S. ambassador to the United Kingdom, who likely felt the sting of embarrassment after the Jets' 23-17 loss to the Minnesota Vikings in London. Johnson stated in a press conference that it was time for a different direction, adding that he believed change would bring new energy and positivity to the beleaguered team. However, it's hard to ignore the shadow cast by Rodgers, the quarterback who was meant to lead the Jets to NFL glory. Johnson admitted to having spoken with Rodgers the night before Saleh's firing but insisted they didn't specifically discuss the head coach. He also consulted general manager Joe Douglas, though Johnson emphasized that the decision was ultimately his. Still, after 25 years of ownership without ever firing a coach mid-season, it's hard to believe Johnson didn't have Rodgers' tacit approval before pulling the plug. The Jets have clearly been operating under Rodgers' rules for some time now. This likely explains why Hackett, whose offense ranks a dismal 27th in total yards, is still employed, while Saleh was sent packing. Hackett, who flamed out as head coach of the Denver Broncos in 2022, was brought back into the fold to work with Rodgers, having previously found success with him in Green Bay. But this reunion has been far from triumphant, and the plan has clearly backfired. Given Rodgers' influence with the organization, it's no surprise Hackett remains untouched while Saleh bears the brunt of the fallout. The Jets' defense, which ranks second in the NFL, is hardly the issue. Saleh, a defensive specialist, leaves behind a unit that could contend for a championship under the leadership of interim head coach Jeff Ulbrich, the team's defensive coordinator. But the offense remains in disarray, despite the presence of Rodgers and the expensive additions made to the roster, including star pass rusher Haason Reddick, still holding out, and a revamped offensive line. Saleh is paying the price for failing to win big, even with the high-profile pieces that were handed to him. The Jets gave him Rodgers, allowed him to bring in his own coordinator, and upgraded the offensive line. Still, the results remain disappointing. It's as though Saleh was expected to be undefeated by now, but the reality is more complicated. Rodgers, returning from a torn Achilles tendon, hasn't been the MVP-caliber quarterback the Jets thought they were acquiring. At 40 years old, he has shown signs of rust, and the precision and rhythm that once defined his play seem out of reach. His 3 interceptions and last-minute misfire in London only highlight his struggles. To make matters worse, the Jets' run game is nearly non-existent. The team ranks last in the league in rushing yards, averaging a meager 3.6 yards per carry. The offensive line, despite significant investment, has failed to open lanes for the run or provide Rodgers with consistent protection. The offensive woes are glaring, yet Saleh is the one being punished for them. Jets' dysfunction, it seems, is alive and well. Despite the elite defense Saleh has built, the team remains stuck at 2-3. Rodgers' influence looms large, and one can't help but wonder whether the tension between him and Saleh contributed to this decision. After all, the icy body language and glares exchanged between the two in recent games were hard to miss. As Johnson talks about positive energy, the real issue is that the Jets' offense is broken, and firing Saleh won't fix it. If Johnson wants to fix this mess, it might take more than just adding a star receiver like Davante Adams. The Jets need to overhaul their offense, from blocking to play calling. For now, the team is left scrambling in mid-season turmoil, and the sudden firing of Saleh has only added to the chaos.